said, don't dare go back and vote for that bailout, go back and filibuster it. And yet all these things are locked in place because he's part of the establishment. I would say he repealed McCain-Feingold. I mean, it just is so different from what we're talking about. I don't want to be in Iraq for 100 years. I mean, the whole foreign policy. I want George Bush's foreign policy of the year 2000. No nation building, no policing of the world. I like that foreign policy.
Do you think that John McCain might have had a better chance had he come back from his campaign? He suspended his campaign for 3 days. It's now widely viewed as a stunt that didn't work. But if instead of supporting the bailout, he had prevented it, wouldn't he have captured the populist support of the moment and perhaps come closer and maybe even been victorious?
I think there's a very good chance that he could have been victorious. I really do, because it would have sent a signal. There would have still been the skeptics, and I guess I'm in that category at times, because he did have a better tax policy than Obama, but, he voted for higher taxes, so which one are you going to believe? So there would have been some skepticism, but in campaigns at the last minute or the last month or so, a move like that could have been fantastic. If he could have come across very, very sincere and say, look, enough is enough. I might have messed up before. I might have voted too much in the past, but right now this is a crisis. We just can't do this. We got to stand for something, and I am going to filibuster this. I think he'd have gone up 10 points in a week.
I just don't think that anyone knew enough. You got people like Jack Welch and Donald Trump and, Hank Paulson with his background and hopping on the air saying this is the only choice.
Yeah, but you also had Newt Gingrich.
And Mayor Bloomberg, same thing.
But you had Newt Gingrich and guys like you, Congressman Paul, saying, you know what, cut capital gains to zero, cut corporate taxes in half. You'll turn on the spigot of money that needs to flow into the credit markets.
Yep, that's what we should have done. And when these wealthy financial people from Wall Street start joining Obama, that tells you how close they are to the establishment. And they depend on inflationism and corporatism and government contracts and the military-industrial complex and the medical-industrial complex and bailout insurance company. They all want to make more money because they are the establishment. So, but one thing that I've always known this, but it was so dramatic in the campaign, that if freedom is to survive and if the free enterprise system is to survive, it's going to be people who haven't made a whole lot of money. It's going to be little people wanting to start a business and trying to survive. It'll never come from Wall Street. They will never. They make a lot of money off free markets, but they don't defend it. They don't understand it. All they understand is how to use government to make even more money. They don't care about the principles of freedom. But the average guy in the street who understands personal liberty will save it if we are going to save it.
About 8 months ago, the government borrowed $160 billion from the Chinese and other various foreign entities in order to distribute stimulus checks to the American public. It obviously did not stimulate the economy one whit in the right direction. Do the Democrats now want to do that again between now and Christmas?
Sure. That's what their plan is. They're going to put it through and put pressure on the president to sign it, and who knows what he'll do. But the one thing that's different is there's evidence now that foreign countries aren't loaning money to us as generously. So, and this is why the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve now has just doubled within a couple of weeks. They are printing the money. I mean, we are in for a lot of inflation. They say, oh, no, oil prices are down, there's no inflation. But, just recently it was announced that most insurance policies are going to go up 10%. Education costs are going up. Medical care costs are going up. Food prices have not come down. So we're only at the beginning of the inflation. We've had the immediate deflationary impact of what's happening with this correction, but the inflation is on its way. In a couple of years from now, I think all we're going to be talking about is inflation.
I'm listening to you, Congressman. You sound as though you don't feel as though this trickle-down economics does work, that if you give the most powerful, the most successful tax breaks, they won't grow jobs. They only care about themselves.
Well, I think to some degrees, but I don't want to give them anything because, yes, they'll cling to it. I want to give people their freedom so that they can strive to move up. I don't even like the idea of talking about trickle down or trickle up. I don't think it's neither. I think freedom works, and freedom is spread around automatically. The more freedom you have, the more prosperity you have, and the better it's distributed in any other system. And it shouldn't be them against us. It shouldn't be the rich against the poor. It should be everybody benefits from freedom. And that's where you get your prosperity. And never expect anything from the government, because the government has nothing. The only purpose of government should be to protect that freedom and to make sure that contracts works and voluntary arrangements work and you have sound money. The government has a role. But the role of government has just been turned on its head. It just serves a special interest. It destroys the money. It spends money it doesn't have. It runs up deficits. They dump all the penalties on the innocent, and they reward the guilty. I mean, the whole thing is all messed up, and the answer can be found in our Constitution, and it can be found in just the principles of individual liberty.
Congressman Ron Paul, Republican of Texas, always a pleasure. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And my theory doesn't...
Congressman Ron Paul, who has steadfastly preached small government, maximum individual liberty, and the government shouldn't be giving your money away, joins us.